All right. What's going on? Hope everybody had a good weekend. Had a fresh week upon us. Just doing all my sound checks, making sure everything is coming through good. All right. So this morning was a quick session for me. Just holding the frequency, just to keep it simply. Caught a couple of movements off supply. And I was done in about, I think it's about three or four trades. Which I'm wondering why my chart isn't showing me. Supposed to be showing me the trades I took. I'm have to look into that later. I don't know why it's not showing me the trades that I took, but it's all good. So we had a little bit of selling overnight, a little bit of inventory collection. and then we sold that off at the open. That's basically what happens in the snapshot. And we're just, working our warehouse, working our inventory right now, holding between our power range. And I'm wondering why I can't see the orders that I took. It's kind of bothering me, to be honest with you. All right, have to figure that one out later. All right, so what are we doing right now? I took a step away from the charts for a minute just to grab some tea and to reset and all that kind of stuff, and to prepare for the stream. So I'm just now looking at this again after about 10 minutes, probably a little bit more longer than that. We're in this discount phase where we looking for rebuilding our inventory, but rebuilding our warehouse, restacking our warehouse, getting new inventory, and we're just working these orders in this range here in our power range, seeing a reaction around PR50. Just seeing a lot of transactions. Nothing like major is popping out to me at this point. Dumping some supply as I speak. Came into an inventory collection point at 890. Finding some more inventory down there. I will look at this as a range between 890 till around 878-ish. Visually, that's 890 to PR low. Seeing plenty of volume in the market. We've crossed the 200K mark. Down to the low of that inventory zone. Finding more inventory down there. We got some automation right above 890 up to 895. We're dumping supply before that. In our budgeting phase, this is the point where we'll be looking to see if we keep finding inventory here, or do we look for more discounts? I knew it was something I was missing. Also this week, so this while we're just watching Wholesale do their thing, it's a good time to bring up, economic events this weekend. This Wednesday is a FOMC afternoon. There's a lot of FOMC events. We got to make sure that we stay aware of that if you're gonna be a participant during that time frame. I'm usually not. I used to like trading the FOMC stuff, and actually I've arrived at a point to where I just don't even care about it anymore. Like, I get everything I need before that. And then I think Powell is set to speak on Friday afternoon, I believe. Let me go look at my calendar real quick. Yeah, Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And also shout out to Spiritual Trader for the intro music. I'll link all that stuff in the description after today's stream. And if you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Facebook, we're also streaming live on Facebook. Then I should be able to put it in the description over there too. But the main area is YouTube. All right, so that inventory point around the PR low that held. Now we're back inside of our shop. We set up shop primarily. We set up shop above the PR low. I think I pretty much already mentioned this. I mean, right now I'm seeing the supply range for where we set up shop here between 910 and 920. And really the way that I'm looking at this is I'm just watching this range, the power range, the PR low and the PR high, as just an overall range. And I'll see once if this ever happens, if we ever break outside of the range, that'll give us a trend. But right now we're just range bound and we're just working these orders inside of our shop. There was some quick inventory right here at 880 where we're bringing our interest back to. Picked up some more inventory there. All right, that's 890. I don't know. I think I said 880 before, but 890. All right, now we're making our supply run. Finding value at higher prices. Making our way back to the high of this range. Checking the temperature outside of the shop. At this point, I'd be looking to see if, based off of what Wholesale saw once they broke that high, if we're gonna go collect some more inventory real quick before we really push and make a market run. Are we going to go back inside our shop and work our inventory some more? Right now, we're just adding to the inventory. This is the key level. What happens here should give us some valuable information. Gap of volume between 920 and 910. Well, that volume actually extends. We had a volume spike right there at 910, right above it, but it extends down to around 905. we're settling back inside of our shop. Working some more orders as we collect more inventory. Nice mechanical response right there off of the PR50. Now from the other side of wholesale, let's just call it wholesale's customers, those who saw value above 930, but they wanted to, grab some of that supply, but they missed it. They'll be looking to do that again if they get the opportunity. So that'll give wholesale a chance to, a little bit more momentum to run to market. Most people know that as a short squeeze. Now this area right here, I don't want to overanalyze it. I've already established inventory around PR50 and our supply around 930. So those are the areas that I'll be watching to see what wholesale wants to do if they want to pick up more inventory, or do we want to leave the shop if we get back to our supply zone. Right now we're going back to our inventory collection point. Another brief mechanical reaction. As wholesale transacts as much as they can within this range, within this zone. All right, let's go look for more discounts. So when price starts selling off like this, for the very few people that I've heard talk about wholesale, a lot of them would refer to this as a supply dump, as in it's kind of giving the sentiment that we're just selling off right here. and there, there's a mostly selling is happening in this area. So the way that I read this, I read it kind of the same but slightly different, to where they see value at lower prices, but along the way they will have the ability to make transactions before they get to wherever they're trying to collect inventory at lower prices. So of course they're not going to ignore that. They're going to sell some of some of the supply that they have, which will be the supply dump, so that once they get to their area of value, let's just call it, then they will have plenty of a budget to get as much inventory as they can down there. And it makes sense if you're looking at it from their perspective, to where if you have this, let's just go with the shoe analogy again. If you have a lot of shoes, right, and you're in the business of selling shoes, if you get a customer that wants to buy some shoes from you, even if it's at a lower price than you want to sell it for, right, knowing that you see more shoes at cheaper prices that you want to go get, you're not going to skip over that customer just because you're so focused on, if you're good about your business, you're not going to skip over that customer knowing that you have shoes at lower prices that you can get. So you can, even though you may have wanted to get more money off that exchange, if you have a customer, when they show up, you're going to make that transaction with that customer, build your funds or your budget for those cheaper prices, and then you're going to go get and rebuild your inventory at those cheaper prices. So that's the way that I look at these kind of sell-offs that other people who talk about wholesale trading, or at the wholesale side of trading, as a supply dump. A nice mechanical reaction off of the MSRP of VWAP to the tick. And we did get a brief inventory response at the PR low. Which is our 880 zone, where we've made several transactions at before. We can see that wholesale built their inventory on that supply dump, and now they're profiting off of that back into some automation. Heavy volume, around 890 to around 885. We picked up some inventory from that. Possibly use the automation to raise the value. Find a supply reaction off the PR50 where we had it, where we picked up inventory before. So we bought some there at that price before, and now we're selling some at that price. And as wholesale, not only did we see interest at that level or at that price, we also kind of created it by transacting at that price. Still dumping supply at that PR50 level. Then zooming out, getting the big picture, we're still inside of our shop, inside of the power range. So we're still holding this range. Picked up some quick inventory. Yeah, so now that PR50 level has kind of turned into some inventory. So we're really working at 904 area, which is our PR50. A continuation of this markup phase. We're in this brief markup phase off the VWAP. So a continuation we'll be looking for if we break and hold at 920 level. At this point, price could go either way, but I think it doesn't matter what I think. That's just, one thing that I'm looking at to see if we break above where we have supply there around 916-ish. I'm just calling it 920 just for simplicity, and that'll give us kind of a read on momentum if we break and hold above 920. Also keeping in mind on the other side of that is the inventory collection around 905. Back to inventory. Quickly picked up some more inventory, but Found some more inventory at slightly lower prices. And then there we go. There's potential momentum. See what kind of follow through we get right now. No follow through at all. Very trappish. Get back to inventory. So now we're just working both sides of the market. Anybody thinking that that inventory was going to go at high prices? They were in probably, you know, they felt some trap for a minute, possibly stopped out at this point. And now we're playing the other side of that, taking advantage of those stops and getting some more inventory. Taking us advantage of those stops took us back into some automation where we're just working some new orders. Drop the inventory down to 895. Building a lot of volume down there. More so than the inventory that we were collecting where prices traded to at the PR 50 or 905. So now that we took advantage of those stops and we picked up some more inventory, let's profit from that inventory that we just picked up. Fact, while I'm sitting here watching them do their business, so broke outside of that range. Now let's see if we get followed through. We did get a supply reaction back off to where we were, that previous supply point around 915. And let me update my volume. So I'm supposed to keep track of volume at the open and then at 10:30, which is my, well, not, there's like at 8, right, 8:50 to 9. That's why I try to stay consistent to those times where I track volume. taking advantage of this time to do some back office stuff. Mark off my triggers for today. As wholesale appears to be going for a run. The 1 minute close on that last 1 minute candle, that did print for, the way it closed, it printed for momentum. We actually need to see if we get, see what kind of follow through we get. From a 1 minute perspective, I got a lot of triggers today. So we decided to continue markup outside of our power range shop. We're not doing it with a whole lot of momentum, but we are slowly raising price into our session high. Slightly push the session high before finding supply. And that'll give us we'll be looking at, well, I'll be looking at 940 as inventory. Nice little 10-point range that we set up a mobile shop. Before I forget, let me go ahead and paste my trigger screenshot inside the Discord and the journal. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and bring this. That music came through so much louder than I wanted it to. I'm going to bring this session to a close today. So hope everybody have a good week. Appreciate everybody for coming through. Don't forget about the events on Wednesday and Powell on Friday, but I'll see you Friday morning. Trade it easy.
It's the best days of your life. Remember today, it's the best.